We've had it good the last few days. There's been some nice bits of news, transfer rumours, signs that Arsenal might indeed be busy this summer. But I'm going to moan today. And you're going to listen. This is today's Arsenal News Show. Hello and welcome to the Arsenal News Show on the Gooner Talk every single morning, joining you at 8 a.m. UK time. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in and being here. It is greatly appreciated. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us and taking this to be a part of your morning routines. It is greatly appreciated. All of you tuning in. Good morning to those joining us in the chat box live. Thank you so much for doing so. Scouse Gooner, Martin, Glenn, Simple Unity, Julian, Brian, Loga. Good morning to James and Seamus. Good morning to Kirill and Dan and Shari, Easter Hunter, Tony, King. We've got S. Turnbull, Blackshine, Oliver. Plenty more of you guys and girls as well in the chat. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you, all of you, for being here. And I hope that you've had a good week. Friday, of course. Friday means one thing in the world of Arsenal when the season's going, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, of course, as well. But yes, indeed, I hope things are good and well with you and yours. Do drop a like, do subscribe. We are on that summer run, it seems, at the moment. Thank you to everybody that's continuing to tune in this summer. And it started early in May, which is great to see. So if you're new to the channel, we do these shows every single day. At this time, UK, 8 a.m., of course, but if you are around the world joining us elsewhere, that's also absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for doing so. And we have, as usual, and as I always commit to, one of the best, if not the best community on the platform. Right, let's jump into today's stories. We start with something that dropped yesterday while we were live and kind of touched upon, but I wanted to do so in more of an official capacity. There have been some number changes ahead of the brand new season. Both David Raya and Ethan Nwaneri are both changing their numbers ahead of next season. David Raya finally taking the number 1, of course, had been number 22 before that, and vacating that number 22 role means that Ethan Nwaneri can take the number 22. It's always interesting, I find, when outfield players and goalkeepers sometimes have had the same number. You always think of kind of the goalkeeper being either 1 or 13, I think sometimes they can be. I've never thought of 22 being necessarily a goalkeeper number, maybe 23, I feel like. What was Wojciech Szczesny? I feel like Szczesny's number was a strange one. Arsenal number. Was it like 50-something? I have a really weird feeling that I feel like it was 50-something, but I might be. He definitely wore 13 and 1, but I feel like there was a time, 25, he wore. That doesn't look like an Arsenal shirt. I think that was Roma. I think he wore 25. I'm seeing a picture here. I'm just scrolling now to see if I can find where it was that strange number that he did wear. But 53? It was 53. Just have found a picture of it, which means that Ethan Nwaneri has shared Arsenal numbers with 2 goalkeepers now. David Raya, of course, 22. And when Ethan Nwaneri is 53, that's the same number that Wojciech Szczesny wore when he broke into the scene at the club as well. Some interesting facts about numbers. Myles Lewis-Skelly, as Charles Watts reported, has suggested indeed that it is staying at 49. So anybody that wanted to get hold of that number and that shirt ahead of the brand new season, I think I might be grabbing mine either today or tomorrow. I decided I'm going to get it in store. I'm not going to order it. I want to try it on before I get. I'm over 30 now. You've got to try these things on before you buy. I can't just be so brazen as to order them these days. So I'll either be getting it today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow, I think, during the day at some point. Yes, thank you so much, everybody that's thrown in your suggestions, of course, as well. Let us know who you're getting on the back of your shirt and in the comment section down below as well. It's going to be a long summer. This Viktor Gyokeres story, right, that keeps on circulating, and we kind of know where we're at with Viktor Gyokeres. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I don't think you need to be too concerned yourselves about this scenario, because there's going to be, I've already noticed, just trying to plug my laptop in. I've already noticed a number of prolific ITK kind of tweets coming out already. I'd really forgotten about the whole ITK world. I'm not talking about those that have like genuine contacts. I'm talking about the people that are enjoying the fact that we're sitting here lapping up tweets from any old account. It started really hitting hard yesterday, I feel. It really did hit hard yesterday. I feel that there was a number of accounts I noticed claiming that Arsenal were soon to be signing Gyokeres. Just to give you full clarity, there's been no indication whatsoever that Arsenal are going to be landing Viktor Gyokeres this summer or anytime soon. If they are to sign him, of course, we will let you know. And there'll certainly be news breaking around that story. And he is a key player that is linked heavily to Arsenal. But, oh, it's dearie me. I'm seeing emojis. I'm seeing hourglass emojis. I'm seeing eyes posted onto Twitter. I'm seeing soon emojis happening. Look, these people that are posting this stuff, don't fall for it. And I know what will happen. If Arsenal are to sign Gyokeres later on in the summer, you'll see those tweets saying, see, I was the first to say Arsenal are signing Gyokeres. There's no offer been made yet. Arsenal are interested, as we know. Just try and not fall for the chaos that you're going to be seeing across social media over the next month and beyond. As soon as it gets more official, let's wait for that, shall we? It's all well and good. Kind of like I had it this last week with the kit launch stuff. As you know, we exclusively revealed on Football.London that Arsenal would be launching their kit. I told you on Tuesday that it was expected to launch on Thursday, and indeed that has happened. And I was getting sent tweets by online faceless ITKs posting how they'd said already that the kit was going to be launched, and I'm like, cool, you guessed it. Like there's a difference between educated guessing and doing actual reporting, and it's going to be a long summer, people. So strap in. Buckle up, and we'll try and navigate you through the mess of the soup that is the transfer window as best we can. But so far, just to give you kind of the bottom line, as we're aware of, no offer yet for Gyokeres. Yes, there's interest, but Arsenal have interest in a number of targets in the centre forward position. The primary deal that is being kind of sorted, if you like, is the Zubimendi situation. And I imagine that the centre forward one will be one, again, the club will want to get done earliest in the window as they can. Now, I want to talk about what I think is just simply unacceptable. And that is Myles Lewis-Skelly not being nominated for the Young Player of the Season. So the 8 nominees from this campaign are Liam Delap, Anthony Elanga, Ryan Gravenberch, Dean Housen, Cole Palmer, João Pedro, Morgan Rogers, William Saliba. Now, my money, I think, in terms of impact, impression, what a young player does to inspire, these are all things that I would use as kind of metrics to measure who should get those nominations. Of course, the rules are a bit strange. The rules are a bit odd. I'm pretty sure that any player that is of the age of 23 at the start of the season and under can qualify. William Saliba is now 24 and is in this list. And, it's great to see William Saliba in this list. Congratulations. But I feel as though Lewis-Skelly's had a more impactful season than William Saliba has, personally. Saliba's had a few kind of end of this season. He's not necessarily been, I don't think, the best, but I'm not saying that he's the one that should miss out for Lewis-Skelly. This is someone that broke into a team at the top level this season at 18 years of age, became an established starter, scored against Manchester City, got an England call-up, scored on his debut, and went on to be a key figure in Arsenal's run. I know it's not been the most amazing of seasons, but it's not been the most amazing of seasons for some other clubs here. João Pedro, he's linked to Arsenal currently. Not a player I want to see at Arsenal personally. I don't think he's had a better season than Lewis-Skelly has. I'd say Morgan Rogers has. I'd say Ryan Gravenberch has. I'd say Dean Housen has. Cole Palmer, he had half a decent season at the beginning of the campaign and then trailed off completely. And all the talk around Chelsea has been how Cole Palmer in the second half of the season has just not been the same player. just has not been the same player this season for Chelsea. And they'll look at the stats. I get it. He had decent numbers right at the beginning of the season, but he's been, as Claire points out, he's been MIA for so much of this season. Can you really get the award for your contributions in just 1/3 of the season that was good? Sure. But Lewis-Skelly, we've been talking about this guy for well over half the season now. Younger, impact, left back. There's no other kind of fullbacks in this list either. Defenders are Housen and Saliba. And I think it's just, I'll be very honest with you. I cannot help but feel as though that Lewis-Skelly is gradually getting an unwanted reputation that is not his fault. Yes, he's got a bit of personality. Yes, he's done a couple of things that you'd be like, oh, that's quite cheeky because it's a bit of fun, like the Haaland situation. Do you remember that when the Haaland situation went down, that it was reported that apparently the lawmakers in the game were apparently having a look at the potential to bring in regulations around celebrations? That came out after Lewis-Skelly did that. We've had chaotic celebrations for years. We've had cheeky celebrations from players for so many seasons. And yet Lewis-Skelly does it. Oh, all of a sudden, this has gone a bit too far. It's gone a little bit too far. I think it's crazy that he's not been nominated, but I think that we all know why. We all know why. I don't need to say it. You know why. I know why. We all know why Lewis-Skelly isn't here. And I feel for the kid. I really do, because I think he's going to have an amazing career. But I'm really worried that this career of Lewis-Skelly is going to happen with an undertone that we've seen with many players before him. For all the frustrations we've had about Raheem Sterling being in the Arsenal squad this season, it's really fortunate that Lewis-Skelly has someone like Raheem Sterling with him this season at a really important point of his tenure, because Raheem Sterling has dealt with this a long time. Bukayo Saka as well has gone through these difficulties after the European Championship final. We all know what he faced, of course, but he faces it still to this day. And he is fortunate. He shouldn't have to have this type of influence around him. It shouldn't be this way. But I am very thankful that he does have those players with him. I'm very, very thankful indeed that he does have those players with him. So, yeah, I'm very curious as to the, what's the word, the justification around why they picked certain players over Myles Lewis-Skelly. I really think that I think sadly there's people out there that are trying, that are out there to get him. Unfortunately, I really, really do. So it's a real shame. It's a real shame that this is happening already at such a young age to such a fantastic player. Hopefully, he can just put it to one side and continue to be brilliant. But Mikel Arteta, of course, will be facing the press. Of course, I'll be there a little bit later on this afternoon. You can get all of the updates on the football.london website. I feel myself getting rolled up. It's really bugged me, that story. It's really, really got to me, because I've, having known the people around Myles, having known the support he's got, the season that he's had, there was so much attention around Ethan, quite rightly, and Lewis-Skelly came out of nowhere. The majority of the footballing world didn't know who Lewis-Skelly was. A lot of Arsenal fans wouldn't necessarily have known too much about Lewis-Skelly even before this season. And to see what he's done and achieved this season is amazing. And I wonder if Arteta's got anything to say on the matter. I'd be curious to know if he does. But he will be facing the press. We'll be getting some updates, of course, on the team ahead of the game against Newcastle this weekend. He has to be updating us on Kai Havertz's situation after he returned to training, of course. Ricardo Calafiori, his status after now gradually getting some important minutes. But we've also got players like Trossard and Rice, who suffered issues in the past week plus. And, of course, Jorginho as well. We're going to see him before the end of the season. We don't know. So, yeah, there is lots to be said about this presser. There's still lots to come, lots of news, and we'll be discussing it, all of it and more, in tomorrow morning's show. Let's go to part two. Your questions and more right after this. Right, this is part two of today's show. We'll be tackling some of the questions in the chat box. Looking forward to getting some of them in as well. And so I'm looking forward to tackling as many of these as we can. And we're going to start by hitting hard, I think. Nunandinho says, Morning, Tom. A sensitive question, but as you work in the media industry, do you feel there is a genuine bias towards certain parts toward a player's ethnicity? I think that, it's a problem that's existed in the UK for a long time. It goes through the media beyond into society. The UK has got a big problem racism wise, and particularly connected to sport. You see it all the time. You see it every single week. You see it every year, every season. There's new incidents. There's new moments. But outside of the UK, obviously, it continues to be a big issue, particularly online, and it's pretty horrible. So yeah, there are issues. Absolutely, absolutely. And I've always maintained this point. As a white guy myself, I feel like it takes that to call it out. When it needs to be a collaboration. You need as many people as possible from all backgrounds to be calling this out. Supporting each other. So that's why we always do so on the channel. And we're certainly not scared to. Gracie says, it's insane. I already thought in my mind that he will get the award and just without hesitation. The bias against Arsenal is insane. He's amazing, as you say, calling up to England. Grrr. I feel you, Gracie. I do. Union says, I think Saliba is great, but I also think playing alongside Gabriel makes him a better player. Since Gabriel has been out, I feel Saliba has not been the same as when he plays, of course, for France. It's a really fair point. I don't think that's a slight on Kivior. I think Kivior's been better than Saliba has since coming into the team, to be fair. And I agree with you. I think it's that absence of Gabriel. And again, it's not a criticism of Kivior. It's just that partnership's been kind of broken. And that's then had an impact on things. Paul says awards are nonsense anyway. Weren't Spurs awarded London Team of the Year last season by the Football London Awards? It wasn't us. It wasn't Football.London. It was the London Football Awards, Paul, that awarded them. So not us. Just want to put that out there. It wasn't us. Foden Footballer of the Year when Rodri was Ballon d'Or winner. I don't think MLS will care. It's probably fair. Let's go to Cash. It says, I must admit, I didn't know too much about MLS as the focus was more on Winery, but good on Myles for his amazing performance and breakout season with Arsenal. Ryan says, Myles Lewis-Skelly only really played half a season, so maybe that's the reasoning why he should be in the young player. Look, Ryan, I don't mind that being put forward, but Cole Palmer was missing for more than half of a season. Liam Delap, I think, the second half of the season as well, his numbers did go down for Ipswich also. It's probably worth pointing out. I mean, let me check that. That's my sense. I might be proven wrong if I have a look at the numbers. He scored 12 goals this season, Liam Delap, got 2 assists. Okay, fair enough. 6 goals came in the second half of the season and 6 goals came in the first half of the season. So it's been an even split. If you want to... Every goal he has scored this season, individual games, of course, 2 against Aston Villa in that 2-2 draw. I'm still not convinced that Liam Delap has had a better season than Myles Lewis-Skelly. I'm not convinced he has had a better season than Myles Lewis-Skelly. For me, personally, 12 goals, 2 assists in 35 games, played pretty much every minute for Ipswich. I'm not necessarily sure that I'd put Delap above Lewis-Skelly this season in terms of who's been more impressive. Been much more impressed with Lewis-Skelly. But I am biased. Gooner Millsy says, I watched an interview of Myles and Chunks on Pro Direct Football, and the whole comment section from all the fans were saying how down-to-earth he is and how unfair his treatment has been from MSM, mainstream media, I think that is. Yeah. It's a shame. You just feel like the villains just get picked out of nowhere and just built up in a certain way. That story that was written before, I think it came out when we were in Girona, about Myles Lewis-Skelly being, quote, a villain. It was awful. Absolutely awful. Oliver Young says the UK is better, racism-wise, than lots of other places, but we shouldn't delude ourselves that better means good or great. I don't think it needs to be a competition, Oliver. I think we just need to be honest with ourselves that racism continues to be a big problem here in the UK. Whether it's better than other countries, I couldn't care less. It's not a league table I'd like to look at, because if you're on the league table, as far as I'm concerned, you're still not doing a good enough job. I understand where you're coming from. I empathise with that point of view, but it still remains in this country a very, very big issue. Bacon Fang says, I hate this bullying of Skelly. This is because some with a voice jump on a bandwagon saying things that are not true, and then people jump on it as well, going by every word they say, believing it as gospel. Barry just simply says, why don't these people grow up? It's a completely fair point of view to put across, Barry. It's Angela says, so I was on the channel over 2 seasons ago on a phone-in talking about transfers. To get a title, we are in the same spot still. So Zubimendi, a left winger and a striker, is that really all we need for a trophy? I don't think we're in the same spot 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago, we added Rice, Havertz, Timber, Raya. Last season, Calafiori and Merino was a particularly great window for sure. But 2 seasons ago, adding Rice, Timber, and Havertz and Raya, these are all starting figures in this current 11. And then, of course, to look into this summer, I think we need Zubimendi. I think we need a backup keeper. I think we need a defender. I think we need a striker. I think we need a wide player. And if I'm getting greedy, I think we need an attacking midfielder. So I think that across the summer from 2 years ago, last summer, and then this summer, that just over 2 year kind of run, I think, we still need quite a bit more. But we did a lot 2 years ago, and we need to do that now as well. Ryan says, to be fair, maybe I'm just looking at for an excuse, but I hope it ain't any other reasons for Myles Lewis-Skelly. He's one of the best young players in the league. Absolutely. Spidman says, do we have racism analytics now? It's almost like we need them, isn't it? Yeah, it's certainly something that I think we do need. Wilson says, it's absolutely criminal that Skelly was not even nominated in the young players section. There is an agenda against him. Bloody hell. Joey says, it's scary how many people still feel protected enough to go with the racism route. Sad that players and also normal people have to deal with this in 2025. I don't know what you mean, Joey. Like, what do you mean? Could you explain a little bit more? Because I'm not quite following. Just expand a bit more, and so I can more clearly understand the point. Ken says, Tom, can you please educate yourself and people on how to correctly pronounce Wojciech Szczesny's name? My Polish wife loses it every time she hears people pronounce it. Put the phonetics in, Ken. Give me the phonetics, mate. I'd love to hear it. I really would. We love a pronunciation run there. Again, as long as it's put across respectfully. My goodness me, someone left an awful comment yesterday. Soup says, if you had to fill the weaknesses in the current team with former Arsenal players from the past season, who would you pick to fill them? Can't be from the Invincibles squad. So if I had to fill the weaknesses, so defensive midfield, is that a weakness? I don't think so. I think obviously depth-wise we're quite good there. Where else are we looking? Centre forward. It's got to be Van Persie, isn't it? I mean, he wasn't an invincible, so it's going to be Van Persie up top, Alexis on the left. I think it's going to have to be, where else are we weak at the moment? I think Raya's the best keeper we've had since Lehmann. I think Timber's the best right back we've had since Lauren and Sanya. In fact, I'd rather have Timber. I love Timber that much. I've been impressed with Timber that much. I'd keep him in there. Saliba and Gabriel. Left back, Lewis-Skelly. I mean, you're going back for the years. Our left back, it's not been the most amazing position. Monreal, Kieran Gibbs. Going back, who was it after? Who was it after the Invincible? I'm trying to think back now. Sani Cazorla, Cesc Fabregas is an Invincible, is he? No, I guess he's not, is he? He's not an Invincible because he came in that following season. Even though he was part of the 49 run, I don't think we can have him. So Fabregas over Ødegaard's. A midfield of Partey, Rice, and Fabregas, I would love to see. I would love to. Clichy, of course, Clichy. I guess Clichy at left back at the moment. Like, I love Myles. We've just been talking about Myles for a long time, but he's still very early on his career. Clichy had some really solid seasons. So I guess I'd probably go, but was Gael Clichy? Does Gael Clichy count as an Invincible? Let me have a look. How many minutes did he play during that season of 2003, 2004, if any? If he played some minutes, he counts. 2003-04, he made 12 league appearances, so he can't have Gael Clichy. Can't have Gael Clichy, I'm afraid. Doesn't count. Um, who replaced Gael Clichy when he went to Man City? Was it Kieran Gibbs? Andre Santos was there. Was it Gibbs after Clichy? Was he the left back that took over that position, Kieran Gibbs? Let's have a look. When did Kieran Gibbs play mainly for 2007-8? I think it was, I think it. Oh no, he didn't come into 08-09. So who was Arsenal's left back during that 2006-7 season? Let's have a quick look. Flamini played there quite a bit, didn't he? I remember Flamini playing quite a bit. Let's have a look. Squad statistics. Senderos. Who was left back? Flamini played left back quite a bit. Clichy was still there in that season. When did he join Man City, Gael Clichy? It's the joys of Wikipedia searching while we're live. He left in 2011. It was Clichy. Yeah, Clichy made it through all that period, and then it was Gibbs, and then it was Monreal, and Gibbs. To be fair, they shared quite a bit. So yeah, I don't think I would put Kieran Gibbs above Myles Lewis-Skelly. That's amazing. What a compliment to Myles Lewis-Skelly, by the way. You've also got Zinchenko, of course. You've got Kieran Tierney. Tierney in his top form for us was great. Let's not beat around the bush. Like when Tierney was playing week in, week out and was on top form, Kieran Tierney was brilliant. Loved having Kieran Tierney. Like that first season, really, at Arsenal, that he had, and potentially I think his second season as well. Used to love having Kieran Tierney in that team. So yeah, I think we're going to go with Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel. I'm going to go Tierney for now. Tierney, top form Tierney, and then Myles Lewis-Skelly coming in, for him and succeeding him. We'll go with Partey, Rice, and Fabregas as our midfield. We'll go with Saka, Van Persie, and Alexis as our front three. That's what we'll go with, Sue. That's the best I can come up with. And I'm going kind of recently as well. I'm not going further back, because if I went further back, I could go Ian Wright. I could go Liam Brady. We could start talking about going back that far, So it depends how far you want us to go back, Sue, I guess. You could probably go a long, long way back and start having much better left backs like Kenny Sansom, of course, at left back. So yeah, I guess that you can go that far. I was kind of thinking after the Invincibles rather than other than the Invincibles. So yeah, I think players like that you could probably start talking about as well, and going well beyond that. Alexis, for me, it's hard to get past Alexis, outside the Invincibles team, and Robert Pires, a better left winger. Over Mars was great, don't get me wrong, but Alexis was on a different level. Absolutely different level. People were saying Monreal over Tierney. Fair enough. I really like Tierney. Mundafat says, what about Thierry Henry? I'm pretty sure he was an Invincibles, mate. Pretty sure. DJ says honourable mention for Ozil. I still personally loved Cesc Fabregas more than I did Mesut Ozil. I think Fabregas, from start to finish, yes, he left for Barcelona. Yes, that was a frustrating time. But he's better than Ozil for me, Fabregas. I'd much prefer Fabregas to Ozil. Soup says, I was thinking post-Invincibles. So yeah, there you go. I think we did it the right way as best we could. Aoife says, it's ridiculous. Some players throw elbows and play like it's MMA with no mention, but a young Arsenal player showing personality and no fear is immediately branded a villain. I mean, think about it. João Pedro is one of the nominations for that Young Player of the Year award. That elbow that he swung. He got a red card the other day for kicking out. I wouldn't want João Pedro anywhere near Arsenal. He's just, for me, he's just not the right player. Mentality-wise, it's not cool. Lee says, Tom, who would you bring in as a number 10 if you had the choice of any? Probably, it's hard to get past Florian Wirtz to be a starter for Arsenal, but very expensive. But who would it be? Any 10 in the world. Jamal Musiala. I love watching him play. absolutely adore watching Jamal Musiala play football. Wirtz, it's close between those two, Wirtz and Musiala. I think I lean towards Musiala. I think you get more guarantees from him, but certainly it's a tight one between those two. Germany have got a very talented squad at the moment. That is for sure. Sammy says, Tom, seeing some of the errors that Raya and Sleeber have made over the past few weeks, do we think this is down to a lack of rotation? I think it's mental fatigue, man. I really do. It's been a very, very, very long season. So, yeah, difficult to think anything else is just beyond that, to be fair. Cypher says, Messi broke into the better team than Yamal did. Could you see Yamal breaking into the same team that Messi did? Not yet, but what a player he is. Saw a tweet the other day about kind of like Barca lost Messi and never thought they'd have another one. Yamal is proven to be potentially a player that could replicate. Not replicate, maybe. I think it's maybe slight on Messi, but what a player. What a player doing it at the age that he's doing it. Unbelievable. Soup says, to think Musiala could have been in the England team. I know. Nuts that, isn't it? The things that get away. Let's scroll up a little bit more. James says, what happened with the Nipan links? Is he an option? I think he's more likely he goes to Aston Villa. I think Sfera Nipan now. I think he's most likely to join Villa. That was the most recent story regarding the Norwegian youngster. So it looks like Villa are leading the way currently for him. Joey says, my previous comment, I meant that it is sad that we have to deal with racism in 2025, that people like Carragher never feel secure enough to not get reprimanded. It's a joke. I think, it's quite a wild accusation. I think when you hear some of the comments, there's an important line to kind of tread on this front, because specific accusations towards individuals you have to have like proper evidence to back it up. I'm not necessarily sure there is that evidence there. I'm talking in a broader context, I think, Joey, more about kind of the racism that's existing still within, particularly in sport in England. The systemic side of it. There's a systemic side of things that needs to be talked about that I think is really important to discuss as well. But I'd love for you to throw some examples at me. DM's always open, as usual. Right. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. Really appreciate your time. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning to break down that Mikel Arteta press conference. I'm very much looking forward to hearing it and being in there and hearing some of Arteta's thoughts on a number of the topics that are going to be discussed today. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. I really appreciate it. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new. And as always, up the Arsenal.